So this is the 90-90 squat or the shin box position. This has become very popular in the last few years. As I wrote, I sort of became familiar with it in the early 2000s, learning from people with martial arts backgrounds because it's a position they would use quite a bit, which makes sense because martial arts is a athletic endeavor that requires a lot of hip mobility to create rotational power. Now, people have made it like a mystical exercise. It's not really that. We're just going to go over some basic fundamentals of what we can learn about this position. For some of your clients, all we simply want to do first and foremost is see, can they sit in a nice tall position like Jessica's doing right now? If they're trying to get in this position, it's causing massive discomfort where you're seeing tension in the face, grimacing, and great discomfort, then we're going to see the nervous system shut down. So, example 2 is if Jessica has to lean or put her hands on the ground to keep in that position. So if we're in a position like this, it's going to be very hard to do a lot of work from this position because we're in so much discomfort that our nervous system's battling the position. What I really want to see is mostly this back leg. Can we have that leg come down towards the ground, that internal rotation of the hip that most people lack? Can we be in that position comfortably? And we want to sort of compare it from side to side because we might have a situation where Jessica's very good in this position. If I ask her to switch the legs, she's still pretty good, but she might find one side more uncomfortable than the other, which is normal. But I want to see, can she sit normally on one side, and then she has to compensate when she gets to the other side. When we see big differences in mobility from side to side, that's when we know that our body's probably creating rotation in a bad way. For example, when we're squatting, when our pelvis has to be neutral, because we have difference in mobility from side to side in our hips. So again, I'd rather her be equally immobile than having a big asymmetry in mobility from side to side. But this is a great starting point. So basically all we're doing at this time is seeing if rotational training is a good choice for her. As I sort of wrote in the manual, if she is at that position where she has to lean and create stability on the ground, then we may not go into true rotational training yet. We may spend more time in anti-rotational training to build up the core stability and create that connection to the chains that will give her that mobility by that proximal stability. So all we're doing right now is saying, is rotational good for her? Can she sit in this position comfortably? And use this as a measure of progress over time. In 4 to 6 weeks, we may measure her again if she had problems at first, and can she do this better? So it's a great way for your client to see changes in their movement as well as you getting feedback about the level of preparation you have for certain movement patterns. So if your client is terribly uncomfortable in the bottom of that 90-90 squat position, does that mean we can't use this position to our advantage or use it to help improve their mobility? And the answer is obviously no. What we can do is use a different level of the movement to help actually build that internal rotation because mobility can become somewhat specific and we can train it by creating proximal stability in specific joint angles. So meaning if Jessica comes up to her knees, this position is usually doable by most of your clients. So the only issue you're going to deal with is just making sure their knees are on a comfortable surface. So from here, you're going to see us do a host of different patterns, and we're going to build from this position down to the shin box and show you how we can improve mobility in the hips by focusing upon that core stability and connecting the chain specifically of lats, core, and glutes. So you're going to find that we're going to use different tools to create that tension that's going to give feedback upon the body. And you're going to be surprised how fast people can improve. And you may have clients that even they start off that segment of the training, they can't be in this position. And by the end of using the series that we're going to go through, maybe 1 or 2 of these exercises, after a few sets, they're actually able to get in that 90-90 squat position much better. Okay. On the same token, don't force people, don't rush people. Let them, build up success over time. You're going to have time that you're combating lots of hours sitting, or possible injury situations, or possibly just lack of usage and familiarity with the movement pattern. So again, this is not a competition to see how fast you can get people to improve, but again, use it as a means to build success and build wins for your clients. So for a lot of your clients, getting in a shin box position will be extremely challenging for them. So again, we want to be able to modify it and help give them feedback upon how to be in this position. Especially a lot of your male clients who generally have extremely tight hips, this can be very problematic, learning how to come up from the bottom to the top position. So again, we could say use your glutes, but that's meaningless to your client. We want to give them some actual feedback of how to extend their hips into this position. So what I have is a moderate band around Jessica's pelvis. So again, we don't want it too high up. We want it to be based around the bony parts of her hip. So what she's going to do is she's going to try to stay tall just right now. We're not going to add any of the weight variances. And I want her to try to push through the band to bring her hips forward. And you see at the top, this forces her to engage her glutes by pushing against the band, but also again, applying some pressure on her feet. Now for a lot of your clients, they may be able to come all the way back to the bottom. That's fine. Nice, just like Jessica did. Nice and decelerate. So again, one of the things I'm looking for in this case is Jessica's ability to decelerate her hips as she lowers herself. So again, if Jessica comes up for a second, if she just sort of gets to a point and sort of just falls, so just go down slow like that, that means we potentially have some problems learning how to decelerate in our hips, learn how to absorb force, and that could be a reason we're also having back issues. So again, this is not, we just want to see the sign of the hips be able to extend. We want to be able to see them control the descent as well. Now for some of your clients, they can't get in this position. This is too difficult. So if Jessica comes up, we may actually work a lot of positioning from here. So this top position. So a lot of your clients could actually function from here. And again, we don't want to put them in a position where they're having great discomfort, so this can be very friendly. Now what we do is just work a short range for a lot of your clients, so they don't have to come down the ground. Just work within a short range and just learning how to use the hips as she goes into motion. So again, we can just sort of teach them within the range of motion they possess how to start engaging. What you'll find is, go ahead and relax, Jessica, that a lot of people, as they start working through those progressions, as they start working through those ranges, their body starts to free up as they start getting more familiar with how to use their body. Because a lot of the restrictions, a lot of the lack of mobility is due to their body not giving themselves permission because the body doesn't feel stable in that environment. So as we can make the body go, okay, this is friendly, this is not going to hurt so much, then we start to add better progression. So any of the drills that you see that we can use in that top position, that top shin box. And we can do the same things to orient people into a lot of these movements, and we can even work some of that get-up positioning that we'll break down shortly into that top position only. So again, don't be afraid to deconstruct some of these movement patterns to find the point of entrance that allow your clients to can access. So again, you don't have to do it from the bottom position. That just gives you some gauge that we may have some hip mobility problems, but also realize that there just might be better environments for your client to perform from. So I think the get up and all its variances are a good example of a great exercise that a lot of people don't think they can access because there's too many moving parts, or a lot of people make it far too complicated because they don't deconstruct it first to work on different aspects of the lift. Meaning that, again, if we see a full exercise like a get up with all this moving, all this different levels and all the different phases, it can be very overwhelming to teach, and also we can spend time on the wrong things. So I'll get that as we go into the get up, but what we're going to do is show you how we can emphasize different components. So one of the hardest part in the get up is building that hip mobility and stability to make those transitions within the movement. So we can actually do some of that from the shin box position, and what we're going to do is just mostly work from the top end of the shin box. You could go from the bottom end every time, but we're going to assume some of your clients have some of these instabilities. So one of the problems with a get up is that you need to already possess a good level of stability and mobility to do the drill well. This is going to help a lot of that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start this drill, and there's lots of variances that you'll see in the manual that you can do this from different positions with the bag in the front hold position, because we can create that tension. We have that load acting upon us, so we can get that core engagement. It gives us a little bit better stability. So Jessica's going to go ahead and raise her hips up by pressing to the ground, keeping the bag in tight. Now, at this point, what Jessica's going to do is she's going to tuck her foot underneath her with the left foot, so she's going to have some stability as she wraps her leg around. So she's going to wrap her right leg around just to half kneeling. So right here, I want her to create some of that tension, push down, and then she's just going to wrap herself back to the same position. Now from here, we could descend back, but I'm just going to have just go stay here. So again, pushing down through the ground is how we create that tension in the glutes. She's pulling the bag apart, and we simply want to see her smoothly wrap the leg around. Again, perfect alignment. We're in good position. Go ahead and come back just and relax just for a second. Go ahead and come down. Nicely done. So you can see how that sweeping action of the leg what's happening is we're getting mobility of one side as we're getting stability upon the other side. If you don't create stability upon that downward leg, you're not going to have the balance to wrap the leg around. So if you see people tilting over, they start following the movement, it's probably because they're not using the opposing leg. They're solely focused upon sweeping the leg around. You're also going to find people that do have great limited range of motion in their hip really struggle with this. So this is a great qualifier for a lot of your clients. If you think if they're struggling with this, you're probably going to see the same struggle occur in the get up itself. So all we can simply do to add a little bit of layer progression is going to take Jessica from the half kneeling position up into standing. So if we get in that same front load position, she's going to wrap her leg around. We're going to make sure she took a far enough step out. She's a nice vertical shin, vertical thigh, then driving through both feet, she comes up nice and tall. So again, part of the get up without the extended weight overhead. This is very powerful. Drop the leg back down, Jess. Engage both feet, wrap yourself back to the top position. So let's do it one more time. Keep that tension against the bag, driving through the leg, coming back down, nice and easy, and wrapping down and relax. So you'll find this can be very taxing for a lot of your clients, but also builds a lot of the same qualities that we can utilize in the later drills. So one of the biggest issues that people have with teaching more complex movement patterns is they haven't thought about teaching the foundation, the building blocks in other arenas to build up their capacity to do those exercises well. Meaning that if the first time we're doing a get up is just doing the get up, you're going to have a lot more frustration than if we've done a lot of the work leading up to that. Using the get up later on will be that much easier and that much more effective for your clients. So we can really build some synergy into that more classic get up with the weight overhead when we move into the kettlebells. So what Jessica's going to do with kettlebells in the double rack, because we're going to use the tension one to help give you some stability, is she's going to come up to her hips and she's going to press one kettlebell. It's going to be the backside one overhead. Okay, she could do that from just that position as well. She's going to bring the arm back into her body. Now at this point, she wants to create that nice tight plank. She's going to wrap the back leg around. Now she's going to press the left arm up, pressing down the feet, pull it back down. She's going to stand back up. She's going to reverse the process, come back down. She's going to press the left arm up by pressing the feet back in, wrap to the top, press the right arm up. And we would just do this again from the top position, or we can come back down the bottom. Let's just go rest for a second. So hopefully you see right there, if just going to go ahead and rest, is that we can build up a lot of those qualities in the get up without having to have the weight above head the entire time. I can teach you elements of mobility and stability in the hips. I can teach you how to engage the core and the feet in the press. And I can teach you how to stabilize the weight overhead. So this is actually a tremendous exercise if you want to build success in that get up. Now there's another layer we can utilize to bridge that gap even more. However, let me caution you, don't rush through this because again, building strength in these type of drills has tremendous value in what you can be doing. So if we bring the weight back up into the rack position, if Jessica goes up and she'll go and press that right arm up again, she'll bring it back down, she'll go and wrap around. Now this time she's going to press the left arm up, but now she's going to keep it up as she drives up the top. Now she could repress from here if you want to give her a little rest. Repress, come back down, then bring the weight back and wrap around and have a seat nice and easy. Okay, so we could have repressed a little bit more, but the point is seeing that carryover. So one of the biggest mistakes that people make in the get up is that people just don't have both the shoulder mobility, stability, and endurance to really hold that weight overhead for the duration of the exercise. So we take people classically who haven't done any overhead work, and now we're making them do long times under tension with all these different ranges of motion. No wonder why people struggle in learning the get up. Right? So again, having these progressions opens up the opportunities to build so much value to your clients and actually build better success. So then when you want to transition them to the get up, it's not such a foreign movement, but more importantly, you build up the aspects of the exercise that are going to lead them to greater success.